We're here at the top of the world at Eagles Point Base, the Archer Tower, here with Tirathiel and Brother Vin, talking about some of the advantages and disadvantages of Eagles Point Base. A lot of people think this is the better base because of the Archer Tower, but some people beg to differ. Brother Vin, what do you think?
Well, it's a great base because nobody can get in besides the door. It's got full solid walls, top to bottom. You can't go through or under. It's easy to bounce between each door because you have right here the two entrances, and then you have one entrance at the other side with decent trail access to both of them from the hut base. So there is a chance of getting pinned in, but it is able to hold off a ground assault for a long time. I think the big weakness is the Archer Tower. If it gets barbarian bombed with teleporting berserk barbarians, your archers get trapped, and then it nullifies the you pretty much lose all of them.
Do you think if you lose the Archer Tower, you'll eventually lose the bottom front defense?
Probably.
Tirathiel, what do you think? You've never been to a bot D before, and you've just seen the bases for the first time this year. What do you think about this base?
I don't know, I like it. Like he said, there's the entrances that we can kind of cover up and block incoming attacks, and with the Archer Tower we could also like notify our troops that are within the base of incoming attacks. If like when we see them, since we have like the higher ground on top here, and we can also like shoot and stuff. So I think there's a great advantage to the Archer Tower. But like he said, like if we get attacked by barbarians, then we're kind of screwed. I shall die. Oh.
Alright, here we are at the choke point, or the main entrance to Eagles Point Base. We're going to go on in, and Brother Vin's going to tell us a little bit about how the best defensible points and the weakest points are. Come on.
We're coming through, you know, basically a gauntlet. There's a front door, there's here. An enjoyable thing of this base is that the classic defense works here really well. Shields, pole arms, you have your magic either on the tower with the archers or behind you, and you just create that wall, and that works so good here. You can bounce from that door to that door, and if you want to come through here, there is a backdoor entrance.
Now you see the backdoor entrance is probably the last remnants of how the walls used to be built in this base. The walls themselves are all made of store-bought wood. As we'll later see in the hut base, all very solid, very defendable against polearms and against archers. So onslaught attacks are really only going to get through the three entrances, while as later we'll see in the hut base, you'll be able to kind of get through in other spots.
And that back door is also where magic users can poke out and cast magic, because they can't cast through the walls unless they're on the Archer Tower due to a lack of line of sight.
And the most defensible point in all of Bot D CTF, this back corner. There's no way to get in, there's nowhere you can go, and it's the best place to take a break if you need to take a few minutes to yourself. Now we've been through the whole base. Tirathiel, what do you think of this base so far?
I don't know, I think it has a very high defense. Mind you, the bad thing is about being within the walls, especially in this area. You can't really see any incoming attackers. The only signal you would have would be from the ranged weaponry on top of the Archer Tower. Or if somebody is kind of keeping watch within the outside walls. But other than that, I think it's a very highly defensive wall. It'll be hard to kind of win an attack, like the other team winning an attack against Eagle Point?
Eagles Point? Eagle Point? Yeah, Eagles Point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good point you bring up, is that around these walls is where someone could come in for a sneak attack and take their time.
Or even poke at your feet from underneath the walls, to just kind of start poking at your feet if you see people kind of being close. That would be,
So there's definitely an Eagles Point lack of line of sight.
Yeah, like I said, we have the watchtower. That's our only line of sight.
What I like is how it's simple. If for some reason leadership goes astray, this one almost defends itself. The blueprint has been written. You know where all the points are. You put up your wall. You know, as the hut base we'll see, you kind of need to finesse it, pulling people back and forth because that one's so big. This one is small, compact, and everybody kind of knows their job. What happens when the fight comes.
Great, well let's head on out to the other points and the other capture points, and we'll see how this goes.
Let's come over here, we're going to talk to Brother Vin again about the different strategies behind the hut base and Eagles Point. Now Brother Vin, what's the advantages behind hut base over Eagles Point?
Hut Base has a really nice archer's tower. It doesn't look like much, but you're actually looking down a hill, so you can take lots of pot shots from there. You have a lot of mobility here. If anyone breaks through your lines, you can fall back to your tunnel, into your main base structure. You have a lot of good view, and there's also a good spot where assassins can pop up around, you know, the horde of people assaulting your front wall.
So we call that place the death trap because walking through there, you're always got to be worrying about the archers up here, the assassins hidden around the woods, and just any frontline assault coming down at you as well. So you're always being attacked from all sides before you even get to the base. It's one of the main issues. What do you think about this base?
I don't know, I like it. From the looks of it, like it has a nice sturdy wall. Like, you can look down the hill. Like you're very well defended here. You're not like the archers are not trapped within this area. If you get bombarded by barbarians like Eagle Point, well here you just run. There's the doorway over there. You can see it from.
Yeah, you can just flood back into
just
the base.
Run. You can warn your people or whatever. Like like we're kind of getting like attacked here. So.
Alright, well let's head inside and actually look at the inside of the base as well because this is just the outside of the base. We haven't even gotten to the real defensible part yet. So let's head on in. This is the other thing we've got here, which is another corridor. This is the main entrance to Hut Base. There are two entrances, but this is the main corridor where you're coming in. And as you can see, just like before, it's solid walls, so they can't really come at you from the sides, although they can pop over and try and stab you, but you can funnel them straight down here.
This is a great gauntlet. You have a couple of shields and some polearms, and you can hold out here for a long time.
Yeah. The advantage of this CTF, last year we had a lot of issues with both teams being so defensive, there was not a lot of action. So this year with the capture points, you're going to have to filter some of your team out to go and capture those points, leaving less people to defend these bases, hopefully opening it up for a couple more captures. So we're going to keep going inside, pass through this long gauntlet. This is what would you say, about a good 45, 50 feet gauntlet before it actually opens up into the base. Now what about the base itself? What do we got going on here?
It's two here. You have a section there with a wall. So that creates a natural barrier so that you have archer or wizards, one on each side, so that you can't get all into the back line at once. That's the big problem. And it kind of makes you, do you go after the squishies might be over there, or do you take the flag? There's a lot of decisions to be made.
And it's decisions that are being made like that in the split moment of one person grabbing the flag and the rest of the team just throwing their bodies against the enemies to let that one person get away unhindered. What about you? What do you think about what you've seen here?
I don't know. I see there's the ladder here. I'm not sure what this is used for, but I can see like you can hide behind it. And,
This
like,
is supposed to
attack
be an
people.
archery tower.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Just kind of get from from the funnel there, and there's another archery tower there with
Better
a
be a really
big.
good archer. Better be a really good archer to fire from this thing.
Yeah, well, you can just send it like that and just kind of shoot from while you're sitting. There's good walls. I kind of pity the people that decided to go through the doorway over there because it's a really small doorway.
And there's a thing that works both ways. You can see in and see out, so you can cast from within the base, whereas the other side, you can't really cast any spells successfully from inside.
Yeah, there's a lot of walls that can protect you from getting like attacked by like the swordsmen and stuff like that. So.
Now let's go show them the back door to the hut base because it's actually often forgotten about. It is very hard to get to, but it's a small door, but there's none of the defenses like there are at the other entrance. It's just an archway leading straight out onto the trail there. And it's just 20 feet to the trail, and you've got to the back door. But here's the problem. You've got a crossbeam blocking all their polearms from coming down. It is very small, and their team can move around a lot. What do you think about this, Baronet?
It's so slow going in that brush. That brush isn't trimmed very quickly, so you're getting magic like crazy from inside the see-through walls. And I think that's the big thing, that they can reposition their forces much quicker than they can. There's no way to sneak. You're so loud. You're so slow. You can't come in with any sort of reach weapons. You really just got to bowl through, and you need pro magic. It's your only hope.
What do you think about this back door here?
Oh, I like it. Like like I said earlier, it's like I pity the people who kind of decide that they're gonna sneak through here because they're gonna get like murdered. Especially like you can use this as like an archer tower and just kind of like try to shoot the people through the brush and stuff there, so it's not really gonna work very well.
Very cool. Well, those are the advantages and disadvantages of each base. You see that each one has its distinct capabilities and distinct failures to it as well. So we're going to keep on going, checking out different capture points, and we're going to talk about their advantages and disadvantages for each team. Let's roll on out. So here we are at capture point number 3. This is the capture point closest to hut base. Now, as you can see, there's actually no walls or structure for this one. But what they are doing is they are going to create a rope system of walls so that you cannot pass through those walls. They will be set at whatever height, and you can shoot over and shoot under those. Because all the other capture points are not very defensible either. So this one's going to be trying to be made to match that. But assuming that there are 2 entrances to this base, one coming straight from the trail leading towards where Star is, and one leading straight back here, if there are walls everywhere else that were about waist height, what's the advantages to this base here?
I think this one's going to favor the team that brings more range. You have great sight lines. It's easy for archers to come into those ferns.
Yeah.
There's also a good lane of sight here for magic.
Any kind of like throwing weapons and stuff.
Yeah, this is definitely from a high point.
Even polearms would be really good to stick it over the top and poke at people.
Yeah. This is definitely a range advantage area because to attack it, you are fighting uphill. And you are fighting against an area where it's very small, it's very confined, so they're going to have all their power locked in one spot.
I think it's going to be a hard one to defend. I think being backed out of it would be your best defensive position, so I think this one might change hands a lot, because I think the attackers have the advantage.
All right, there we go. So this one might be an attacker's advantage for those people attacking from Eagle's Point to try and take this one. You may have the edge, but then you got to worry about when they come back for it. Yeah. So we're going to head back over to the neutral capture point and talk about that one next. So here we are at capture point number 2. Now this is the neutral capture point. It's located between hut base and Eagle's Point. Now this base here, there's a little bit of debate as to who has the advantage here. Brother Vin, what do you think?
I think it's a wash. I like the defensive here. You have a little bit of sight lines. You have some firm doors, front and back, where you can put in your muleys. You got really good ground to move around, so people rush in. This is prime fighting territory. It's not too bumpy. So I think defenders, but I think this is a really good point to have a showdown at.
What do you think?
Me, I think it's gonna be hard for both parties because like the only like weapon type that would have any kind of advantage would be like the close range sword fightings because of all the bush covering the walls, you can't really shoot or throw anything to the enemy. So I think it would be a hard one to either keep or kind of try to get. So.
Yeah. Now the thing I should mention is that according to the CTF rules, if you're capable of passing through a wall without damaging or breaking it, you're able to walk underneath these. So these walls, although they are a small barrier to people with lots of armor or shields, assassins and scouts will just be able to come right through and sneak up on you. I think this is probably going to be the most heavily contested base of them all.
It'll be hard to defend and attack, that's for sure.
Exactly. So I think this is going to be the most heavily contested one because you don't know who's going to win the fight. Nobody really has the advantage here. With lack of line of sight for the attackers and lack of line of sight for the defenders and an uphill battle for the attackers, I don't know which one's going to win now. I think it's going to be skill that will win that fight.
Or numbers. I think numbers too would have a big advantage towards stuff, like depending on what kind of weapons they hold. Like if it's like you got a couple of like ranged weapons here and you got a couple of swords and you got a whole bunch of swords coming up here, I think that people with a bunch of swords would end up winning because you can't really do much with a bow.
Numbers are always a big thing when you're making sieges. When you're making a large siege, make sure you have enough people to go in, kill their line, and stay there afterwards. Yeah. The important thing is make sure you have enough people to remain and hold the fort while your team gets reinforcements to you. But we're going to head back out towards capture point 1 and we're going to talk about that one now. So here we are at the graveyard as Sidar and I have began to tournament, and Lady Rowan has come back and finished off her delightful work, creating a very unique feel for while you lie dead in Nirvana.
Now we can't give Lady Rowan all of the credit. Brother Vin also was involved in making this. That's his skull right there.
They were to be wed, but unfortunately, he wanted roses. She wanted daffodils.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
And there's some tombstones.
There's the tombstones for the people who tried so hard to fight well in life, but ultimately were failures.
And we have some on the other side. There's a chill zone for both teams.
Oh, look at that, more stones there.
So we have the two different sides of the Nirvana.
It definitely has a ghostly feel to it.
There we go.
Which, and it's interesting because this base probably has some of the worst battle memories of CTF in my past 10 years, as always being the base that got attacked by both sides. So the fact that now this one is the graveyard is pretty fitting.
Yeah, this base has never won.
Do you have any good memories about this base, Brother Vin?
I remember many valiant last stands at the front door.
That's about as much as you can say.
Yeah.
Valiant last stands, not valiant victories.
They never worked, but they did try and hold up. So this is now the graveyard, very nicely decorated by those two. It's going to add quite a nice feel to the environment for the CTF this year, as well as for the quest. So we're going to keep going out and working on some more trails. Let's go.
Welcome to the ruins, Old Duchy base. This base is the one that's kind of fallen over the years. As you can see, different walls are still standing well, some have fallen down, so it's literally a mixture of great defense but great entry points. Anyone with a creative mind or a strategic mind can find a way to use it to his advantage, but the way the inner wall structures are, it's going to be hard to defend every single point. So we see this wall here in the middle and an entry point right over there. So if you're defending this door, it's going to be difficult to get to that entry point in the back. Brother Vin?
I think an overlooked point is that there's a really great natural choke point in the trail to get here, about 20 feet outside the front door. So I think that's where a lot of defense is, but then if Hut team is creative, they can send somebody around the back through all these holes. So I think that's where you have the real, give and take. You stay near the flag and try to defend it near the point, and not really have any structure at your advantage, or use the structure and risk somebody coming in behind you.
And that's always a numbers management too. At the end of the day, how many people are going to be defending all the capture points? Because there's 3 in total. And to hold all 3 is going to spread your numbers pretty damn thin. And each one's going to be pretty vulnerable to the whole force of the other team.
Yeah, like there's a lot of wall damage and so there's a lot more entry points to this this capture point. So they have the people holding this base would have a great disadvantage against the attacker from my point of view. Because like the team would have to be scattered everywhere to try to hold each doorway that anybody could come through.
And this is the point closest to Eagle's Point. This is the one I assume will be held most often by Eagle's Point if they're willing to put the resources to it, but definitely need a creative mind to hold it if it's going to be consistently attacked. And I think that's all. We've covered all of the checkpoints and all of the bases. We look forward to seeing all of you next week at Battle of the Dens. For myself, I'm Count Sadar.
I'm Count Sai.
I'm Lord Brother Vin.
And I'm Tirathiel.
You've been watching
In all accounts.